Hello everyone. Um, I wanted to show you my last video. My last video was on polymer clay, and I showed these beads, but I want to show. We're going to make a cabbage rose cane today, so I wanted to show some way that you could use it. You can use it to make beads to cover a bead. You can use it on a cabochon. Here's some rose canes that I've made. This one I've kept large to cover beads. I can cut some of that off, reduce it, and use it to decorate, embellish cabochon or a bead. Here's another one I made. It's a medium. I kept it medium. That way I can still reduce it down further. And this actually is the one that I covered these beads with. Let's see, they make beautiful beads. I don't think my camera's doing it justice, but there's that. I've got it wrapped in some silver foil also. Here's another I didn't care for so much because the purple outline isn't dark enough, or the pink isn't light enough, one or the other. But it would still make a pretty bead. So that's what we're going to do today. So I've got my two colors, triangles, and what I'm going to do, and I decided to use this rainbow to wrap it in after I get my Skinner blend and get it rolled up. I'm going to wrap it in the rainbow colors. I think that'll make a really pretty rose. So what we're going to do is I'm going to flatten this out. And then I'm going to get it down small enough to get it in my pasta machine. And I don't know if y'all's ever made canes or Skinner blend before. I'm sure some have, some haven't. You just fold it and keep running it through the pasta machine, folding it over on itself. Now I've left some color on the ends. So I'll fold it like that. So the black and pink are kind of overlapping. Alright, so after I get this, well, I didn't even show you. I'll fold it over like this. And then keep running it through my pasta machine, and I'll be back when I have it rolled out. I'm going to roll it out on the largest setting, and then my largest setting is a number 7, and I'm going to take it down to a 5 before I roll it up into a log. Alright, I'll be right back. Okay, this is about 15 times ran through on the pasta machine on a 7, which is my largest number. And now we want to bring it down and make it thin, a thin strip like this. We're going to run it through like this on my largest setting, which is a 7, and then a couple smaller, which would be a 5 on my pasta machine. And I'll be right back. Okay, here's my long skinny strip. And you got to decide whether you want um, the inside lighter or the darker. And let's see, I think I want my inside dark. It just makes the gives a different look to your rose, to your cabbage rose. And then what I'm doing is just rolling this little strip up. Okay, and you know, if it's too narrow, you can push it down and it'll widen it out. Or if it's your strip gets narrower, you can squeeze in, which you can't even see. Hold on. You could squeeze in your ends like that to make them equal with the strip that you're rolling. So just rolling. Alright, and there's your plug. Now, see the end? Mine has a hole on both sides. So you can take a piece of clay, the same color, and try to fill in these holes. Smush it down. Alright, now I'm going to wrap my plug of clay, my Skinner blends, and this rainbow. It's rolled out on a number 7, which is my thickest. And I'm just going to take it and roll it up. And then when you get to the end, just roll it against the clay, and it'll leave a mark here, and that'll show you where to cut. It'll be a perfect fit, normally, if you go by that registration mark. And then we want to trim these ends. You don't have to get it perfect because these ends are going to be cut off after you reduce your cane. But try to get as even as possible. Keep all your scrap, because you can always, like this was a piece of leftover scrap clay, and I'm using it. It's a beautiful color, scrap clay. Try not to mix it too much. If you got scrap like that, right, you know, you'll always find a use for it. Alright, I don't know what kind of rose this is going to make. It's going to be different, that's for sure. But sometimes it turns out wonderful, and sometimes it turns out scrap clay. or, you know, leaves or some other kind of lentil bead. Alright, and so you just start squeezing from the middle, around and down. Squeeze, squeeze on both sides. Trying to squeeze out all the air and reduce it. We're going to reduce it down till we can get about, till we can cut it in 3 or 4 equal parts. I did 6 one time. That's what, I think I did 6 for that rose that I covered the bead in. The beads I showed you, the yellow beads. I really like that one. Maybe we'll cut it in 5 pieces, because I don't think this is big enough to get 6. There's nothing to distort here, so I think you'd be okay to roll these. Let me take my rings off. It's hard for me not to get my fingerprints in this, and I've got beads baking on my glass block right now. So usually, if I have a problem, my clay is real soft, I'll use that glass block to roll my clay with, so I don't get any. So it rolls out even. You see. Alright, I think that's even enough. And then I'm just going to cut it. Let's see. Let me get my ruler. First, let me get these ends off. Ooh, I don't know how this is going to turn out. Quite dark. Let's see. I wonder if I should wrap it again. I think I'm going to wrap this in another layer. because look how dark that is. That sunset color doesn't even show up. I think I'm going to put some yellow. This is how I keep, you know, my spare, some of my scrap, but my good scrap clay, you know, the kind that's not all mixed and nucky. Some of it's swirled, but mixed, but some of it's just, you know, one color. So I'm gonna roll this out in my pasta machine. In my thickest setting. Now, since I've already taken that down so far, and it's so long, let's see. Let me get that in even. So I'm going to try to make this work. I don't know if it will. I have to piece it in, but we will make it work. You know, I probably should have did half, since it's already mixed colors and this is already an experiment, obviously. Let's roll out some of these. Let's see if I've got any. More of that color. I'll be right back. Okay, I've got my cane wrapped in 2 different colors, and we're going to just experiment with this. That's the fun of playing with polymer clay. is if something messes up, it don't turn out like it should, you can just, like you thought it would, you can just play around and try to make the best of it. And a lot of times it ends up better than what you wanted. And then other times it's scrap clay. But we'll see. That looks better. At least it's got more of a, you know, light versus dark. Alright, so I guess we cut these, each one of these in half. Cut that one in half. Then we'll cut this one in half. And then we'll cut these, cut this half in half. And we'll keep one half for the middle. And then we'll cut each of these halves in half. Remember to save your whole half for the middle of your rose. Okay, and then we'll take this half and we'll just press it down, squeeze it down. It makes it widen out and thin out, but don't press down so much in the middle as you are on the sides. Just squeeze the sides down really small. Okay. And one side's thinner than the other. And then you're going to take that side and roll it up. Start with the edge there. My middle might need squished down a little more. If your middle's too fat to roll, just squish it down some more. And roll. And then fold this edge over. And see, that's the middle. Whichever side you want to use, because whichever, it don't matter. Both of them's going to be an end. Here's the middle. Alright, and then take these smaller ones and do pretty much just like we did. Squish down a little in the center. You still want it to have a nice width in the center. But on the edges, you want those to flatten out. And continue doing this. And we'll come back and do the next step. Seriously, don't you want to sit here while I flatten out all these petals. So I'll be right back. Okay, we're back. And we've got the middle. And then now what we do is just start putting on the petals, and we'll put on and you just put them on by placing them on top and then attaching, pressing down and attaching the sides really good, sealing the sides in the middle. And then I'll take a pink, let's see, that was yellow, I'll take a pink and see where that one ends. I think that's where I'll place the next, where the center is over top of that little seam. Now the center one is going to be longer, but we'll cut that off. Alright, and then place the next one over the middle of the next one, over top of the side or the seam of the one before. And then here we've got these two. I'm going to put a pink one in the middle of those. Let's see. And then I'll take a yellow one. It don't really matter. That's just the outside color. Yellow and pink. It's just the outside color. Let's see, we need a pink one. Here, I'll do another pink one. No, we better put a yellow one here. It looks pretty cool so far. Let's see. Put pink here. Here. And then we'll put yellow here. I don't know why these yellows are so much shorter. I guess the yellow piece was yellow. And then the last yellow piece and go here on the edge, the outside of these two pink. And there we go. And then we reduce it down. Try to keep it organically shaped, not perfectly round. This cane would make, this is a good size cane. I mean, let me cut this end off. Look at that, that's going to be pretty. See, experimenting did pay off this time. And I'll finish reducing this down to the size I want it. And then I will cover a bead with you and show you what it looks like. Alright, see you in a minute. Okay, here's I cut the end off, and there's what the inside looks like. So I wrapped it in silver composition leaf. I like to, the canes keep nicer if you've got them wrapped in something like this leaf. And save your ends, because that would make a pretty bead, whether it's a lentil bead or what. Okay, so let's take off a thin slice. And take a piece of clay. And wrap it around the clay. And then I have to take another. It's not going to fit perfectly, but it's okay. We just want the pattern. Now, can refine it in your hand. And there's a beautiful bead. With gorgeous colors and pattern. And then you can use this cane several ways. You can reduce it down more. Of course, to embellish cabochons, or even, you know, take it down real small, and you can have like roses. You can embellish a bead. But there is our Cabbage Rose Cane, and keep your eye out for more polymer clay tutorials. And I'm a seed beater at heart, so there'll probably be more beading tutorials and clay tutorials, but I hope you give polymer clay a try. I was happy I did, because it's really, really fun and great for relieving stress, and great, you know, it really gets your creative juices going. Just like I'm sitting here thinking, what can I do with this piece of beautiful leftover scrap clay? You know, what can I make out of this? Something just as equally as pretty as this cane or this bead. And so, thanks for watching, everybody. Have a great day. One more thing before we go. I just wanted to show you how you can make a beautiful bead just out of the cane itself. Alright, so I'm going to cut off a little bit of this cane to work with, so I can just reduce it down a little bit more. Like I say, don't worry about trying to keep it perfectly round. Not for this cane, because it's a cabbage rose, and you know they're not perfectly round. That's why I'm not just rolling it on the table. I'm just squeezing until I get it down a little smaller than what it was. Alright, and then I'll chop the ends off, add them to my scrap clay. And then I'll just slice a nice thick piece. Make sure it's pretty level as to the size. Refine it a little bit. I should let it sit overnight, at least 6 hours, 6 to 8 hours before I skewer it, but I'm gonna just go ahead and put a hole through it. And I think that makes a pretty bead just on its own. I mean, it's nothing fancy, but I really think it's a pretty bead just on its, just a slice of the cane. So, alright, I just wanted to show you that before I left. Alright, everybody. Have a good day. Thanks for watching.